how to create deep rapport. The more rapport you have with somebody, the less linguistic technology you'll need. The more rapport you have, the more they'll go along with whatever it is you want. Studies have indicated that it takes us about 6 times hearing a marketing message before we feel comfortable taking action. That's how long it takes to become familiar with any given message. Of course, marketing messages are coming through various media, so getting into rapport with them is almost impossible. But consider the same basic idea. A message or suggestion coming from another person can be greatly augmented by how much rapport we feel with that person. The deeper the rapport, the better. So, how do you create deep rapport? The basic way is by mirroring and matching body language. But this is pretty basic. It's also pretty automatic. Here's an experiment you can do to prove this to yourself. Walk down a busy street and purposely blur your vision. Specifically, do not make eye contact with anybody. You won't bump into anybody. You'll avoid people easily and automatically. Next, purposely make eye contact with people as you walk down the street. The longer you hold eye contact, the more likely you'll bump into somebody. Why? Because eye contact creates rapport automatically, subconsciously, instinctively. And what is rapport? Mirroring and matching. So as you get closer and closer, so long as you maintain eye contact, you will both move by mirroring and matching each other, and it will be hard to not crash into them. But if you want to create deep rapport, you need to mirror and match not just body language, but everything you can about the person. The rate at which they speak, the rate at which they breathe, but even more deeply, match their worldview as accurately as you can. This does not mean asking them questions about politics or religion or current events or anything like that. This means to match their worldview, but on a very deep and subconscious level. How do you do that? Like this. First, brush up on Meta Programs from NLP. These are the broad filters we have through which we perceive and interact with the world. Like, are you motivated away from bad things, or are you motivated towards good things? Are you more of a big picture person, or do you look at all the little details? When you go into a new situation, do you notice the familiar things, or do you notice the unfamiliar things? But here is the most important part. Use these ideas only as an internal conversational framework. Do not mention these structures. Do not mention the phrase meta programs, and do not mention the more commonly understood Myers-Briggs personality tests. This is not, I repeat, this is not a technique to talk about something consciously and then find similarities based on this consciously spoke about idea. This is to create a deep feeling of structural similarities based on how you think about the world. Use these meta programs only as an internal guide to help the conversation along, to help you mentally keep track of the conversation. To the other person, it must seem like these conversational structures are coming up organically and spontaneously. So, how do you introduce these? Let's use an example of the motivational strategies, away from bad things or towards good things. Now, here's a very important part. Everybody is both. Sometimes we want to move away from bad things. Sometimes we want to move towards good things. Depending on what we are doing, depending on what our goals are at the moment, even depending on the kind of day we are having. So avoid any questions that sound like this. So, are you this type of person, or are you this type of person? Instead, introduce these ideas very low-key, very subtly. What you are doing is looking for similarity. Any kind of situation where both you and your conversational partner feel compelled to move away from bad things. Any situation where you and your conversational partner feel compelled to move towards good things. Slowly guide the conversation so both you and they are looking inside your brains and finding examples of both, away from bad towards good. Do this without needing to label or talk about exactly what you're doing. This technique is not based on a memorized collection of words that will create instant rapport like magic. This is based on you slowly, deliberately guiding the conversation based on these internal structures to help you find these deep subconscious similarities and how you both perceive the world. They will feel a deep connection with you based on these very rarely talked about ideas. These are the kinds of things that few people ever think about, let alone talk about. So when you use these NLP Meta Programs as a secret internal structure to help guide the conversation, specifically to create deep rapport, you will get a lot of benefit. This will give them the experience of having a very deep and very memorable conversation. They will deeply appreciate you. They will feel a deep connection to you. They will remember you, and they will keep that memory of you in a very special part of their brain. And because you will have created such deep rapport, they will be very willing and eager to go along with pretty much anything you might suggest, whatever that might be. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. To learn more, please visit mindpersuasion.com.